Remember when this happened?
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't. Remember when you had to like spam cities and say need a tank, need a tank, need a tank during the Burning Crusade days? You don't remember that because now you just push a button that says go to the dungeon.
And let's fast forward a little bit. You may recognize, tastefully, deliciously, it's the same person making a different announcement.
Fans of World of Warcraft around the world, we hear you. I am pleased and also a little bit nervous to announce the development of a classic server option for World of Warcraft.
The community rose up and had been asking Blizzard for years to bring back vanilla servers. Even after shutting down a fan-run vanilla server, people like Mark Kern and historically very popular streamers like Sodapoppin and Asmongold, a lot of people have been very vocal about bringing back WoW Classic, and there was even a petition and a plea by former lead developer on WoW Classic, Mark Kern.
Hi, Mike. What's up? As you may have heard, Nostalrius, the fan server you shut down, has a petition calling for legacy servers for World of Warcraft. I've got it right here. Over 230,000 signatures and thousands of comments, nearly 10,000 pages in all. I've printed it all out because I thought it might be more tangible this way to see in physical form. I also have here a list of top Twitch streamers who have pledged their support to legacy servers and promise to start streaming WoW again if they return.
And beyond all of that, it would not stop. Journalists' hot takes like Justin Davies, who is a senior manager at IGN, saying, World of Warcraft Classic will be the biggest, most high-profile example of gamers not actually wanting the thing they think they want. And of course, it was lauded by the games journalist community. And I offered a bet on Mr. Justin Davis, to which he did not reply. I'm not surprised. The idea that retro wouldn't be hugely successful is provably false. You see a lot of we had an announcement today for the Genesis Classic with 10 more games on it. This is something that I was only mildly interested in, but now that I've seen the game lineup on that thing, I'm pumped for it. You see the explosion of retro consoles, retro stand-up gaming cabinets, too. 1UP Gaming, or whatever they're called, Arcade 1UP, has basically LCD monitors and emulators selling like hotcakes. $300 they sell for. I would love a wall of them. You heard me, Arcade 1UP. Send them on over. Happy to put them on the screen. There are arguments that the biggest and loudest argument I've seen and heard is basically that, well, people that didn't like it then, or people that really wanted it 15 years ago, loved it 15 years ago, they don't have any more time. They don't have any time to level up. They don't have any time for a lot of the old problems. And, ultimately, I'm sure Blizzard will fix a lot of the initial, bugs and stuff like that in terms of the release. But to me, that's not really an argument. It's, you may personally not have the time you once did, but you're probably not a WoW customer now either. So your opinion is not really that valid. If you're complaining about not having enough time to play MMO, that's not WoW Classic's fault. That's your life or your choices. So the idea that that is a valid reason for WoW Classic to, quote, fail is absurd. And also, there's a lot of talk about, people will say, oh, it's going to fail. It's going to fail. It's going to fail. Well, how do we even measure that? There's been a lot of talk about, how many subscriptions will it sell? How many people stick around? Yes, people do like a lot of the modern day niceties, but there are a lot of people like me. For example, I reactivated my World of Warcraft account yesterday and signed up in hopes to getting into the beta. That's one. Do you think I'm the only customer on Earth that reactivated their WoW account after watching people stream WoW Classic yesterday? I doubt it. And to be honest, World of Warcraft in its current state isn't doing amazing. It's not lighting the world on fire. So maybe giving people something to do, first of all, in between expansions is just a great idea. People that love WoW but might not love an expansion, you have an option to keep them satisfied, keep them streaming. And yeah, a lot of people that had those rookie numbers of only 1 to 2 hours a day, to play video games, okay, fine. Yeah, none of us are 13 anymore, and we don't have 8-hour stints to just sit in a chair and drink Mountain Dew and Cool Ranch Doritos. But we've got a couple of hours, and most of us also weather our expectations. The grind of WoW Classic is what made it good. I miss that. I talk about how often I regret using the gold cheat in Red Dead Redemption because I robbed myself of the struggle for cash. I regret it every day. It's so sad that one of the best games I've ever played, I robbed myself of that experience. And I'm not a type of guy that goes back and plays games again. So that'll just always be the case. World of Warcraft, I've played on and off over the last few years. And when I came back, I just bought a level 60 or level 90 or something. Just, you could just buy in at the high level, completely robbing yourself of the grind. Yeah, some people don't want to grind, but some people do. A lot of people do. I played World of Warcraft, and I've said this before, I've never even been in a guild. I don't even know about setting up all the hotkeys and macros and all this stuff. I just like to grind. Walk around, do some quests, get my XP. I think most WoW players are like that. You had your hardcores, sure, but, maybe I need Asmongold to coach me up. Let them know. Let them know I need a little training session. But to worry about the time that you don't have now as a 40-year-old or 35-year-old is to ignore the fact that what about people who are 13 and 14 right now that might want to get into World of Warcraft, right? To say WoW Classic will not attract new customers at all is absurd. Of course it will, because once it releases publicly, you're going to have a ton of young viewers on Twitch seeing World of Warcraft for the first time. So you have the retro people. I mean, look how many people still play RuneScape. I mean, there's so many lo-fi games that are still very popular. So it doesn't have to be all flashy. People can learn to experience the grind. And it's not looking very good. When I look at yesterday's Twitch numbers, they peaked at 200,000 viewers. 200,000 viewers yesterday. Peak. If we look at Asmongold right now, he's got 70,000 people watching him. I don't know if this is a record for him, but that's nuts. 70,000 people are watching WoW Classic right now. That's 70,000 people seeing all the nostalgia, wanting to go back, recapture their youth. I hope that Blizzard puts me in the beta because it will take me back to that time in my life. And so what if I only have a couple hours a day to put into it? That's a complaint. Oh, I only have a few hours a game to play, a few hours a day to play video games. Okay, that's still a lot of time to play video games. And are you going to be able to put your guild back together from 15 years ago? Maybe not. But a lot of people made a lot of friends. A lot of the things that we look back now as frustrating with, finding, for example, tanks and having to find people in global chat. That's how you made friendships. That's how you got to know people online. And there was a stigma at one time with having online friends, but most of us now have grown up and realized that, you know what? online friends are pretty okay. They're, you know, there's someone to play games with. I started doing paper and pencil RPGs over Discord, and it's awesome. So what if we're not in the same room? You know, I could be sitting in my boxers in my living room, eating some popcorn, have the baseball game on mute while I'm doing, you know, a round of, you know, RPG, whether it's Skaven. You know, we were playing Skaven with Arch Warhammer. But the idea is the same. No, I don't have the same time I always did, but you can't ignore these numbers. Look at it, okay? Look at what happened when you released WoW Classic yesterday. 95,000 average viewers. That is insane. 95,000. You had 122,000 at 6 o'clock last night. You mean to tell me there's no market for this, that none of these people are going to want to get in? The only shame I see right now, the only bummer is that people can't buy it right now. If I could buy it right now, I'd already, you know, if I could be playing it right now, I'm in. Instead, I've bought into old, you know, reactivated my Warcraft. I'm going to play it tonight. And yeah, I'll only have an hour for it. But it should go commended. And if you were one of the people petitioning for this, or if you're also, you know, a passive fan of World of Warcraft and you enjoy it, even though they didn't listen at first, this is a huge win for the gaming community because World of Warcraft, Blizzard listened to us. So I think in a lot of ways, it's our duty to reward them for that. I know that seems like, you know, weird, but that's why I reactivated my sub. I was like, hey, you know what? Blizzard, you do a lot of messed up stuff, but you gave the community, at least a large section of the community, the World of Warcraft community, something they had been asking for, something you didn't have to do. So if we don't support it, then it will make the next developer far less likely to do it. So I'm glad that everyone pushed as hard as they could for it. I didn't have any online presence when all this work was getting done. Guys like Mark Kern, you know, the original Nostalrius server, Soda Poppin', you had Kugan TV. So many people have been asking for this, and it's here. And I don't really care about journalist hot takes. I'm going to play some World of Warcraft. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.